So, this is it.
You've spent weeks, months, or even years out there creating a body of work you are proud of. You've posted some images online, but now you want to show it in the real world, but you don't know how or where to start. Well, this was my case 2 months ago, and this week I just finished displaying my first exhibition, America Untitled. In this video I'm gonna share how I did it, some tips, some advice, some things that I've learned, and the things that I'm gonna improve for the next exhibition. So let's do it! Okay, let's begin. First of all, why would you want to have an exhibition of your own work? Well, I can think of 3 very good reasons as of right now, but I'm pretty sure there are plenty more. The first one is a selfish one. Everyone wants to show their pictures to other people. The second one is because you can get real feedback. There is nothing like real people staring at your images. They don't even have to tell you anything about them. You can tell from their reaction, their body language, if they like the picture, if they don't, how long they stare at it, how little they stare at your images, and how fast they go through the whole exhibition or how slow they do it. Of course, some people will talk to you and will give you some real feedback, and that is very important. The third one is because you could sell your work if you want to. In my case, for example, I didn't sell any pieces there, but if you wanted to, that would be a really good chance to do it. Before getting into the how to prepare the exhibition, there is one thing that you should be aware of, and is setting up an exhibition isn't cheap, isn't the cheapest thing in the world. Framing and matting your images can get really expensive, but we'll talk about cheaper ways to do it. Okay, so preparing the exhibition. The first thing, and this comes actually before preparing the actual exhibition, but you have to have a body of work that is consistent and follows a theme. You see, the theme could be almost anything, like street photography. It could be about a location, a particular city, a specific country. It could be about landscapes. It could be about animals. It could be pretty much about anything. But all of them must have something in common that hold them together. For example, using a black and white landscape next to a color portrait will probably not do it in an exhibition unless you have a very good reason for doing that. Once you have that body of work, the first step, and for me the hardest by far, is curating those images, editing the images or selecting the images. Depending on the space, you could have more or fewer images, but as a rule of thumb, you shouldn't have too many in one single exhibition. What I did is I created 3 different sets of photos, one with 15 images, one with 30, and one with 46. So depending on the space that I'm using, I could choose the 46 for a bigger space, the 15 image selection for a smaller space. But as you can imagine, selecting 15, 30, or even 46 images from 2,500, a collection of 2,500, is very, very hard. And you'll have to leave some of your favorite images out of the exhibition, and that will break your heart. As I mentioned in the previous point, for the sake of keeping a consistent theme and also to show like different images, not showing the same subject over and over, I really had to leave some really good images, in my opinion, out of this exhibition, and that really hurt. Next step, when you have your photo selected for the exhibition, is to find a place where to show those pictures. Here it will really depend on where you are, which city, which town. It really depends on your location. I did ask in some art galleries, but it's really hard if you are not a well-known artist to get in there. So I focus my energy in cafes, restaurants, and cultural centers. A lot of coffee shops and restaurants have some art in display all the time, and they actually let the artist sell their art there too. And they usually give it for free, or they take some commission for every piece that the artist sells there. But they are a very good option to get started. I thought that it would be nice to bring with me printed work so I could show at the cafes and restaurants and cultural centers. So I printed some of my images. Actually, I printed all of them, the 46 that I selected for my exhibition. This is not the nicest paper or not the nicest quality, but that also means that it wasn't that expensive. I think I paid, I don't remember how much per copy, but I ended up paying around 45 or something like that, 45 euros, including this folder or binder or portfolio folder, whatever you want to call it, that fits up to 40 of these images. So this was pretty much the exhibition, all the photos that I showed there. And I think it actually pays off to bring a physical copy with you. if you are actually visiting those places and going there in person, I think I would really recommend to do this. And in some cases, it's just better if you reach out to them through social media or by email or even by phone. And the reason is because some of these coffee shops or restaurants, they are busy, they have customers, and you are actually taking time from their actual business to talk to them about this thing. If they are interested and they don't have many customers at that time, then that's perfect, awesome. But if they are busy, they might just say no without even looking at your work, and that would be a pity. So sending an email or a message through Instagram or Facebook or something like that, so they can look at that message when they have some time, it might be in some cases the best option. But no matter what you do, if you go there and talk to them, or if you contact them through the internet, you must go there to the exhibition room at least once before going there to set it up, because it's really important to get an idea of how many photos or images you are going to be able to fit. And I don't know, just get a general idea of how the exhibition will, or what the exhibition will look like there, so you can organize yourself. I actually took some footage too of the place when I first visited, so I could use it as a reference if I had, I don't know, if I didn't remember what the place looked like. So it's also a good idea to take videos or photos of the place so you can look at them. Now about printing the images. This actually might be the first time that you're printing your workout for this exhibition. The first thing that you need to think about is the size of your print. It doesn't really matter what size you choose, it's up to you and to your style and what you want to show or say with your pictures, but once again it should be consistent. Don't have a small image next to a huge panorama, because it doesn't really make much sense unless, once again, that's what you are after and you are actually saying something with that, maybe to show some contrast between the small and the huge, I don't know. But in general, as a rule of thumb, just try to have all the images in a very similar size, very consistent size. You can print your photos at home, either in the darkroom or with your nice printer if you have one, or you can go to a professional lab or rent a darkroom somewhere. I personally went to a professional lab where I was able to test images on different kind of papers and I was able to actually look at the images there and make some changes and correct some things that didn't look quite right. And yeah, the quality is very nice. I think I paid some €3 per copy. It's a very nice paper. It has a lot of texture to it, so the grain from the film, it really looks very nice in here, and I loved it. I think I paid 130, 140 euros for printing the 46 images for the exhibition. Then the next step, and the most expensive one probably, is the framing and matting of your images. So my first idea was to use custom frames, of course. So I went to a local framing store and I asked about prices. I wanted a 12 by 12 inch frame, and yeah, they gave me a price of around $30 per frame. I was going to have, for this exhibition in particular, 30 images in display, so that would mean $900 just for the frames. So even though I would have really liked to use these custom frames for my exhibition, it was just too much for what I was trying to accomplish here. So I have no shame about what I did next. I went to IKEA. I found this square frame that it was rather nice. It was just okay, nothing incredible, but it was just decent for what I wanted to do here. The problem though is like they didn't have it in black, they only had the silver model. The black one was out of stock and they weren't expecting to have them back in store for a few months. So what did I do? I bought the silver ones and then I brought them to a painting store, a local painting store here. I paid $9 per frame plus $2 to have those frames painted. They did it in over 2 or 3 days, so everything was really fast. I paid $11 per frame instead of the $30 that they were asking me for the custom frames, so that brought the price to a total of $330 instead of the $900 that I would have to pay with the custom frames. It was totally worth it, and at the end the frames from IKEA painted here at the local store were just awesome and perfectly fine for what I wanted to do with this exhibition. Anyway, so I matted and framed all the pictures here, and now it was time to actually set up the exhibition. They will let you know at the place where you're hosting the exhibition if it has to be ready the day before, 2 days before, a week before, whatever. But if it's up to you, I would try to do it at least 2 days before, because something might happen, something that you might not have expected to happen. So you have some extra time to actually go outside, buy some extra materials, or print something that you forgot, something like that. I set up my exhibition the day before the opening, and I forgot to bring the labels, you know, the labels that you put on the wall next to each image. And it was fine at the end because I was able to go the day of the opening a little bit earlier and set them up there. But yeah, I'd rather have it ready the day before so you can sleep that night. The images is the basic component of your exhibition, and you don't really need anything else, but there are a few nice details to have there with you to complement the display of your images. For example, one of them is the labels with the name of the piece, or the location, or both, things like that. It's also a good idea to prepare something that the visitors can take home with them. I had this little flyer with just some information about the exhibition, about me, my contact information, my email, my website, and my social media accounts, some extra photos that I couldn't fit in the exhibition. So yeah, so the visitors, when they get home, they can actually, I know, look at your work again in your website or your Instagram or whatever, and get in touch with you if they have more questions, or even if they want to purchase some of your work. I had that same flyer printed out in a bigger size. I was hanging on the wall just in case I ran out of flyers. I didn't at the end, but just in case. I also had some 120 film. I made all the photos from the exhibition in 120 film, and I brought my Bronica with me because I wanted to show people how, or explain them how I made the images. I think it's a very special thing nowadays to make the photos or the images on film. And I think it would be nice to show them. They actually appreciated that, and it was a really fun experience. So this brings us to the opening day. The local TV was there. There were some people from the town council and all of that. So they had me introduce myself there in front of the camera. As I said, I was showing them the Bronica and the film, and explaining them how I made the images. Then I was interviewed by the local TV too, and yeah, it was really fun, a really fun experience. A lot of people showed up, many more than I really thought. To be honest, this was a thing that I did because, yeah, I was of course expecting some people to show up, but it was mostly to gain some experience and know what it is to have an exhibition of your own work, and to build my resume, you know. So I can say that I had an exhibition by myself, a solo exhibition where I show my work. And but it was a really nice surprise that a lot of people actually show up, and I got a good feedback. I got some people too who didn't really understand what I was doing there with my images, the black and white, gritty, contrasty, sometimes hard to understand style, I guess. I forgot, but obviously you should promote your exhibition online and offline. I was very lucky because this cultural center sent some press releases to newspapers, and they had better contacts in there, so I got published in newspapers, and the local TV came, and then they published a lot of things in social media too. Oh, and we did this thing. I designed the poster or flyer. There you go, that they printed there, and then we put this all over the town, on the streets and bars and restaurants. So yeah, it was very nice to actually let people know that the exhibition was happening. And that's it. I think that this pretty much covers everything that I had to do for this exhibition. It was a really fun experience. I learned a lot, not only about exhibitions, of course, but also about photography, how far beyond the actual print photography can go. I think that one of the goals of photography is to show our work to other people, to the world, not only to feel our needs to create art, that also too, of course, that's very important, but I think the goal of photography is to be shown, and the destiny or the fate of images is to be hung on a wall and being stared at by people. As I said, I have 2 exhibitions coming in the next few months. Would I do something differently? Yes, and I will. A big mistake that I made is not to have a guest book where people can leave their names, their contact information, and maybe sign up for the newsletter or something like that. By the way, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, do it. I'm gonna leave the link down below in the description. Thank you very much. And yeah, next time I'll leave a guest book so I can send people some information about my work and about me. I also want to improve the flyer that I left there for visitors to take home. I actually wanted to include a few more images, so maybe instead of one page or two sides of one page, maybe a few of them, maybe a booklet or something like that. I don't know, it depends on the price. One thing that I want to try in the next 2 exhibitions is to buy a tablet, a cheap tablet, and load some, all of my YouTube videos where I was actually making those images that I'm showing there on those same walls, and just have it there playing those videos in loop all the time. I think it would be very cool to have a video showing me making that image that you are looking at. And that brings me to the last thing that I could improve for next time, is to have some sort of insurance. As I said, I paid for both the images and the frames something around 450 or 500 bucks. And then if I have the tablet, that increases the value of the whole exhibition a little bit more too. So $600 is not a lot of money, but still, if the insurance is like, I don't know, $30 or $40, it might be worth paying just in case something happens and you have to replace your part of the exhibition of the whole exhibition. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful to anyone thinking about showing their work. I would totally recommend it. If you have any questions about this, or if you have any concerns, please leave a comment down below. I'll try to answer. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching again, and see you in the next one.